Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a fantastic day so far. I hope today has been treating you well. If you are in the UK, I hope that you are managing to cope in this awful heat wave that we are having. I am not coping too well. I am struggling. I already look as red as a beetroot. I do not do well in the heat. I have my fan on. If you can hear that, I apologise, but I need it or I'm going to melt and nobody wants that. But in today's video I'm going to be swatching and trying on the new Cosmic Brushes NUDETRALS palette. If you didn't see yesterday's video, firstly I highly recommend you go and watch that because there is a sneaky little giveaway in it, and secondly that video I was swatching and trying on, testing out first impressions, all of these things for the NUDETRALS palette. But we're doing the other half of the new collection from Cosmic Brushes today. If you did see yesterday's video, there was a giveaway in there, like I just said, for the emerald green velvet makeup bag from Cosmic Brushes. I have one of these to give away. I also have one for myself. So this is the one that I'm going to be keeping, and these are made for storing your Cosmic Brushes eyeshadow palettes. So if, like me, you've got quite a collection, go and see that video for all of the details, but you can also leave a comment underneath this video and you'll be entered again, so twice the chance of winning. So just leave a comment down below, and somewhere in the comment, you can leave a comment about literally anything, but somewhere in the comment leave your Instagram handle, but don't put the little @ sign or YouTube will flag it as spam and I won't ever see it. And if you want to follow me on Instagram as well, I will probably be announcing the winner there. It's just Millie Davison, the same as it is here, but I'm gonna stop rambling now. I'm gonna just get into the video. I'm gonna try and make this one a little bit shorter than yesterday's. So this is what the outer packaging looks like. So it is very, very similar to the NUDETRALS, which looks a little something like this. So they are like the same design, but obviously NUDETRALS is the grey tones and NUDETRALS is more of the warm tones, beautiful and foiled. And then inside, see, that's just blown away because my fan is on. This is what it looks like. I am so excited by this colour story, and even for someone like me who likes wearing colour, I like wearing bright pops of colour, I feel like this still has colour even though it's a neutral eyeshadow palette. I feel like there are still some really great options in here. So we've got greens, we've got like mustard, which I feel like is a beautiful colour on the eyes, especially if you've got blue eyes and even green eyes. I feel like that sort of warm yellowy tone really brings out the colour in your eyes, and I just feel like this colour story is going to bring me so much joy when I swatch it all out. So let's just get on into it. I'm going to zoom you in and let's do some swatches. If you haven't already, please give this video a big thumbs up, and also if you're new here, subscribe. I post all the time and I get very overexcited about makeup, and that is absolutely no different today. So let me zoom you in and we can do some swatches. So one last close-up look at all of these shades before I dig my finger into them and swatch them. I would love to know, which sort of colour section are you most interested in? Like, first impression, what's grabbing your attention? Because for me, those mustardy shades definitely are. I love them. So all I have on my skin is a little bit of moisturiser. I did just put the Made by Mitchell Keen Screen Skin Prep moisturiser. I just put a little bit of that on my skin just so that I wasn't quite so crusty dusty. And let's swatch these already. Like, if you didn't see yesterday's video, the formula of these, and I do also have a full playlist with all of my Cosmic Brushes swatching videos and everything. The formula of Cosmic Brushes eyeshadows is phenomenal, truly. Considering this palette, I think it was £28. Are you mad? Like, I don't know how they do it, truly, but the first shade, let's just get into the swatches. I really don't want this video to be as long as it was yesterday. First up, we've got Satin, which is a really light pink shimmer, almost like a ballet slipper sort of a tone. Really soft and really reflective. Then we have got a matte, and this one is called Chic, and that's a really light shade. Let me move this in front so I can actually see what I'm saying. A very light nude shade. Very useful if you are my sort of skin tone, for like buffing over the edge of something, to like really blend something out. But that is incredibly fair. It is basically the same colour as my skin tone. Can you see that? It looks nice, really nice and soft, but basically the same colour as my skin. Then we have got Bear, which is a beautiful warm toned nude brown, almost like a, would you say that's like a caramelly toffee sort of shade? Really pretty. Then next up, another matte, and this one is called Neutral. So this is the colour that the palette is named after, and this is richer. This is almost like getting into more of a deeper brown, but for my sort of skin tone, and obviously I can only talk about how things are going to look on my skin tone, but for me that is like a smoky outer corner that's not too deep and dark, but really like rich and warm. Absolutely beautiful. Then I think can you see? This one is called Radiant. That multi-chrome, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. That is so shifty. Like when that's not catching the light, you almost can't even see it on my skin. Like almost can't even see it. You can see it a tiny little bit, and then when it catches the light, that's like a warm toasty brown, almost with a little bit of pink. But from this angle, and I said this in yesterday's video as well, from this angle it's just green. That's like the most incredible shifty multi-chrome. That's beautiful. I'm gonna need to use that one. So on to the second row, we have got the shade Touch, which is a matte, and this one definitely feels more neutral than the first couple of mattes. These ones feel warmer to me. This one feels not cool, it's not a cool tone, it is just more of a neutral, and that's really smooth, and again a very useful sort of transition tone, something like that. Then this next shade is called Desire, and in the pan this almost feels like a cream, and that's really beautiful and shifty as well. I love that. Like deeper, much deeper on my skin tone, on a deeper skin tone, oh my goodness, that would look incredible. And again, where that's like catching the light, that's shifting to so many different colours, that is beautiful. Then we have got Classy, and that's a, you know, we're getting deeper, we're getting darker in the shades now. This is definitely a deeper chocolatey brown. Then we have another shimmer, and this one is called Glamorous, and that's just like a foil. So smooth. That's what I love about the Cosmic Brushes shimmer formula. It's so smooth. Such a pretty shade. Then we have got Delicate, which is another matte, And this one is almost a grey tone, like a grey toned brown. I am just going over these a few times purely because I have got that moisturiser on my skin and I don't want it to like affect the way that the colours look in the swatches. And realistically, when you're doing your eye makeup, you're probably going to go in with a few layers, like to build something up or to blend it out. It's not going to look like just one swipe. Does that make sense? I really feel like the heat's getting to me and I'm not making a lot of sense. Do forgive me. Then onto the third row, we have got the shade Glitz, and this is the shimmer that goes with the mustardy tones. And the warmth in that almost looks like a sunset in one single shade. Like you could definitely do a sunset eye basically just with that one shimmer because that is beautiful. I'm gonna live in that shade, like that colour on blue eyes, say less. Then the matte shade that goes with the mustard colour story here, and that's beautiful as well. Really pigmented and actually quite a bit deeper than I was expecting that to go. That's almost like an antique gold, like a really yellow antique gold. That's really, really rich and yeah, quite a bit deeper than I was expecting, but absolutely beautiful. Then we're getting into more of the like khaki mossy tones. So the first one here is Tease and then the next one is Gentle. So these are both mattes and I absolutely adore these like mossy, earthy, khaki tones. I feel like for a green, these are so wearable. Like anybody, no matter how scared you are about colour, anybody could wear like these mossy sort of tones because they're just neutral. Then this is the last shade on the third row. This is called Lux, and from like the lives and things that I've been watching and the Instagram posts that I've seen, so many people are interested in this shade. Like so many people say that this is the shade that they are most interested in. So when it's not catching the light, that is just like a warm toned coppery brown sort of a shade, and then when it catches the light it's got like a lime green reflect to it. That's a really, really unique shade. I don't think I've ever seen a shade like that before. That's really bright when that's reflecting. That is so, so pretty. I do feel like it's catching on my arm hair. Obviously you don't have that problem on your eyelids, so I'm not worrying about it too much. Then onto the last row, we have got another matte, and this one is called Rumour. And this is like a warm pink, almost like, not quite a salmon, but definitely a warmish pink. Really, really beautiful. And then we have another shimmer, and this one is called Velvet. And again, I am running out of space. I'm gonna have to swatch on my elbow, which is fine. But this is definitely like a deeper, not quite a plum, because I do feel like it still has like quite a bit of warmth. I am having to hold my arm up. But much deeper, a lot more depth in it, but really bright and reflective when that's catching the light. And then the last three shades, this one is called Lust, and you can see how deep that purple is. That as a smoky wing, I mean, you know me, I'm probably going to do a liquid liner, but that as a smoky wing on blue eyes, that's going to bring out the colour of your eyes so beautifully. And that one's a matte. Then we have got Tender, and this is the last shimmer, and that's beautiful as well. much deeper than what I could use like across the lid, like how I would normally use a shimmer, but beautiful. And that's almost got almost like a lilac glitter in it. That's really, really pretty. Definitely for something on the outer corner, that one though. And then the last shade is Timeless, and Timeless. Why was that so difficult for me? And that is a matte black. Oh, and I've just smudged that, but you get the idea. It's a matte black. So that is what the whole colour story looks like. So I feel like you've got a really great selection there of like browns and like more pinky tones, and then like these are your more colourful options with like the mustard and the green and the purple, but you've got basically half brown and then half more neutral leaning colours, if that makes sense. I really, really like the colour story and the colour selection in this palette. So what are we gonna do? I actually feel like I'm enjoying the look of Luxe. Should we do something a little bit more green and mustard leaning? And then another day I can do something a bit more pink and purple. I am also going to do a video where I use both palettes together, Cooltrals and Neutrals. If you want to see that, be sure to subscribe, but let me find some brushes that are clean first. Okay, so I do already have my eye primer on and my brows. The eye primer is the Beauty Bay one in the shade 2, I do believe. It's completely rubbed off, so I don't know. I think I'm going to do like a halo eye today, so dark on the inner corner, dark on the outer corner, obviously a big wing because it's me, as something shimmery and beautiful across the lid. And I'm definitely thinking like basically this whole row, the greens and the mustards, it's where I want to live. Okay, so I'm gonna start with, I've got my brushes out here, but I haven't got one that's the size that I necessarily want. I'm going to start with a fluffy brush, and I'm going to dip into Tease, this shade, in the middle, and I'm going to work that into my crease. That's very pigmented. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that like that. I know that that is not sufficiently blended, but trust the process. Trust the process. I'm not sure I do, but let's trust the process. I'm going to just use that same brush while this is still looking patchy, and I'm going into Chic, that one that I said was basically the same colour as my skin tone, and I'm going to use that just to buff that out, because actually that's quite a bit darker than I was expecting it to be, and I did just want a bit of a transition-y something to start, so it's maybe a bit excessive for that. Okay, so that Chic shade has made that blend seamless, absolutely seamless, and I did just put a little bit more of that Tease on the outer corner. Then I'm going to go in with a smaller brush. Yes, it's dyed purple already. It's a new brush. It's already dyed purple. I haven't actually washed it yet. But I'm going to use that one, and I'm going to go into... I'll go in with Neutral, and I will pack that onto the inner corner and the outer corner. So starting to create that little bit of shape, and I'm desperately trying to like force my hand not to smoke this out in the way that I always do. I'm going to go a little bit more rounded today, so do the same on the other side. I will say, as I've got my fan here, this eye is leaking like crazy. There's not a lot I can do about that, so we're just going to try our best. As always, that's all you can expect from me. And then when I don't have really any colour left on that brush, I'm just wiggling over the edges of where I tapped that neutral shade. Does anybody else Like, I'm really struggling to say the word NUDETRAL and COOLTRAL because they're not real words. I do feel like my brain is struggling to compute. Also, have I mentioned it's 7 million degrees, so brain not computing at the best of times. I'm going to take an even smaller brush, and again, it's purple, but I haven't washed it, and I will go in with Delicate, which was that slightly more cool toned matte, and I'm going to use this to deepen up right on the edges of that NUDETRAL shade. I'm just going to tap it on. Those colours go together perfectly. And then back in with that brush that I used, NUDETRALS, and if I just tap over the top of that, that'll just blend it by itself. Okay, so I'm happy with how all of that is blending out. I'm happy with how dark that is on like the outer and inner corner. Like, that's creating a really nice shape. So I feel like I just need to add a bit more green back in. So I'll go back in with that first brush and I'll go in with Gentle, the more green. So this is the one that I started with, and I'm going in with Gentle next to it and just lightly, very lightly, buffing over all of the edges just to add a little hint of that more mossy green into what we've already got going on. Yes, I feel like that's added the green that I felt like I needed. So I'm just going to take my finger into that Luxe shade and I'm just going to be brave. I'm going to swipe that down the centre where that base is still a little bit tacky. That's beautiful. The shift on that shade, that's incredible. And I feel like where that has more of a browny sort of base to it, I feel like that's just blending in with obviously the browns that I already had on. I am just going to take that slightly above the crease so that you can see it even when my eyes are open. But that shade is incredible. I love that. Can you see how smooth and reflective that is? I love. So I'm just going back in with a brush just to tap over the edges of that. But I don't feel like that really needs any sort of blending. I love that shade. I am just going to take a little bit of that Radiant shade, that first duochrome. That's how that looks on the finger. So it is really reflective, and I'm just going to tap that down the very centre of that Luxe shade. Oh, I feel like that adds a really beautiful gold. Can you see? So this side with Radiant and this side with no Radiant. That's beautiful. I love that shade too. So then one last blend, again no more colour, but just making sure all of that is really nicely blended in. And then I'm gonna like clean up under the eyes. Not that I necessarily feel like there is, considering the amount of shimmer that I've got on my eyeballs. I don't feel like there is a great deal of fallout, and especially because I like pressed that in with my finger, I feel like that looks really good. And I'm not sharpening up like how I usually do because I want this to be really nice and rounded. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my base. I won't do any liner. I'm going to do under the eyes before I decide if I want liner. So I'll be back when I've done the rest of my face, you know, foundation, etc. And then we can decide what I want to do under the eyes. But I am thrilled. with how the lid is looking. Let me stop rambling. Let me do the rest of my face and then we can finish up together. Okay, so that is the rest of the face done. It's basically exactly the same products as what I was wearing in yesterday's video because they're already out on my table. It's the e.l.f. foundation, the Made by Mitchell bronzer stick, more of it because I feel like I needed a little bit more bronzer today. I did use Can't Cope with Coral blush. I have a Revolution highlight on. It's the one out of the Soph palette. What else? Same lipstick as yesterday, super nude satin sheen lip stylo from MUA, my favourite. And I'm going to finish up under the eyes. I do think I'm going to use a liquid liner. Who saw that coming? But I'm going to go for the bronze one from 17 rather than a black, and maybe a brown mascara as well. But I'm going to finish up under the eyes first. So I'm going to take that long fluffy brush, the really small one, and I'm going to go into NUDETRAL, the more brown shade, and I'm going to run that under my eyes and join it up on the outer corner because, like I say, I want this to be quite rounded, quite different to what I usually do. I want this to be, yeah, more rounded rather than something quite sharp and lifted, which is what I always do. I literally always do the same thing. I was like, you've got to do something different. You've got to change it up a bit. So really buffing this out under the eyes. And then just with the same brush, I'm dipping into Delicate, that darker brown, the one that I've got on the outer corner. And I'm just going to run that on the outer corner again, just to, more so just to join it up with what I've got on the top. I do, have I mentioned this eye's leaking? This eye won't stop running. So it is going a little bit peculiar on the lower lash line, but that is just my eyes. It's not the eyeshadow's fault. So I'm going to take a really tiny little brush because even though I've got that dark colour on the inner corner, I still need an inner corner highlight. So I'm going in with Radiant, that shade that we put down the centre of the eyelid. I'm just going to put right there. That's really pretty. And then I'm going back in with the brush that I just did those mattes with under the eye, and I'm tapping over that so that it sort of blends in with the darker shade on the inner corner, just to blend it in a little bit. But I really like how that looks. Beautiful. On the inner corner there, that almost looks orangey. That's such a beautiful shade. I bet that would look beautiful just all over the lid. I'm gonna do that just for an everyday little something tomorrow, just for work. I love these. So I'm gonna go in with that 17 bronze eyeliner, the Ink Legend Tattoo eyeliner in the bronzy reflective shade, because I feel like this rather than a black, it'll just go a little bit better. So let me do this. I need to concentrate. I feel like that's a really subtle difference, but I like the addition of that little bit of just a different texture basically, and where this is like slightly reflective, I feel like that works really well. And this is one of my favourite products of all time, so I'm gonna just use a black mascara because I feel like this is quite glam and I feel like I just need a black mascara. So I'm going to use the Catrice Fake It. Again, just the same one that I was using in yesterday's video because it's already out on my table. And then we are done. I feel like this video will be just as long, if not longer, than yesterday's. I apologise. Okay, so I did just put a little bit more bronzer on. I always feel like I need more bronzer once I've got like mascara and everything on. I always feel like it just takes all of the colour out the rest of my face. So I just used a little bit of the Barry M Tropical Heatwave bronzer. And that is the finished look. Oh, I also did a little bit of P. Louise Magic Wand in a new leaf. It's like a duochrome, multichrome green eye pencil, and I put that through the waterline, but my eyes are watering like crazy, so it's probably all washed away, but that is the finished look. I absolutely love how this has turned out. I think that like duochrome shimmer across the lid is so bright and like intense that just made the look. Like, this would be nothing without that, what was it called? Was it Luxe? Yeah, without that Luxe shade. This one here, like you can see there how shifty that is. Like, it's just a brown, it's just like a brown goldy sort of shade, and then when it catches the light it's really green. Out of the two, I definitely think this is my favourite. I feel really inspired by this palette. But let me know what you think of the finished look. Let me zoom you out. I would love to know if you have picked up the NUDETRALS or the COOLTRALS. I would love to know which one are you most drawn to, because I definitely feel like out of the two of them, I am most drawn to the NUDETRALS, just because I'm a warm toned gal and I love those like mustardy gold bronze tones. They just speak to me, and I feel like if you've got blue eyes, they really bring out the colour of your eyes. I feel like my eyes look so blue and so bright, even though this one keeps watering, but we're not talking about that. But I feel like, again, I said it yesterday, I feel like there's so many different ways that you could go with this. Like, even though I tried to use the greens, and I used both of the greens, I don't feel like this is very green. I could definitely go more green. So if there's any colours, any looks that you want to see, if you want to see more of an everyday, because I do feel like with both of these looks I've gone quite glam, because I love a glam, but if you want to see something more everyday, I'm more than happy to do that with either of them. And I am also going to do a look where I use both in an eye look, because I feel like a lot of people have bought both. Let me know, have you picked up either of these? Have you just picked up COOLTRALS? Have you just picked up NUDETRALS? Or have you picked up both? Or are you thinking of picking up both? Because I feel like I'm definitely glad I've got both of them. I can't lie, I really, really like both of them. I just feel like the tones in NUDETRALS are more what I will go for an everyday. But I would love to know what you think. I am also rambling now, but I'm also at some point soon going to be doing a ranking video where I talk through all of my Cosmic brushes, palettes. I don't have Muse, but I think I have all of the others now, so I'm going to be doing a ranking video where I talk about all the colours, go into depth and decide which is my top tier palette from Cosmic brushes. I'm not gonna lie, it could be NUDETRALS. I love this colour story, but I'd love to know what you think. If you have quite a selection from Cosmic brushes, I would love to know, where does NUDETRALS and COOLTRALS come in your ranking? Because NUDETRALS definitely comes quite high for me. I love this. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you do want to enter that giveaway to win the emerald green makeup bag to store all of your Cosmic brushes goodies, then just leave a comment down below and leave your Instagram handle in that comment and you will be entered. But just don't put the little @ sign, because otherwise YouTube will flag it as spam and I will never see it. And be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my other videos on these palettes or anything else that I might be rambling about. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.